he?
Atkinson Fire Chief, but he started in Durham. He was in Salem for a long time.
All right. All right, she's still lieutenant. Was it fun job?
Was it?
Hello. Yeah.
That guy's what? Hold on one second.
Right.
Yeah, she goes, no, I forgot updated, and like, oh my god, I know you're not
It is not even official. No, right, yeah.
She's like, oh, why
Yeah, it doesn't actually help the market price.
I saw your mail, but I didn't get a chance.
I have one thing.
I didn't get a chance to.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was just going in at 9 in the morning and I was like, oh, I got what's happening. When you sent it to me.
Well, they don't fill that to the very overnight.
Yeah.
I think it runs on that.
Oh, gosh. Oh,
6 o'clock?
okay. 6 o'clock, and I am coming up Welcome to the lead. It's Monday, July 31st at 6. I will call the meeting to order. Public comments, anyone wishing to make a comment? Just quickly. Hello.
Good evening, everybody. With the most recent viral information about Boulderbrook Stables on their side, we thought it would be best to update everybody and anybody in the watching about our side of the story and how it all came down. So after a very long controversial site plan approval process for Bedrock Gardens located on High Road, the planning board decided to conduct site plan approvals for all agricultural businesses. These approvals included but not limited to Copperhouse Farm, Maryhill Farm, Tuckaway Farm, Misty Meadows Herb Shop, and Flag Hill Winery. Before going for the planning board, Boulderbrook Stables went to the zoning board of adjustment, and I need to start by saying Boulderbrook Stables is the entire property, which also includes Cornerstone Enterprises and John Scott Grumbling and his commercial activities that he does on the site as well, on the High Road end. Sorry about that. So prior to going to the planning board, they went to the zoning board to get the required variances for the existing commercial, non-agricultural businesses on the property. Their first public meeting with the planning board was on February 13th, 2020, where the planning board set a site walk date of February 22nd, 2020. Almost all planning board applications have site walks. This application had abutters requesting a visual barrier to the commercial use located on the High Road side of the property. The planning board conducted a site walk on February 22nd, 2020, and the fire department attended, which is the usual procedure. The fire department and the police department are required to provide input on every application per our town regulations. So that's what got the fire department into Boulderbrook Stables. Great. Now, fire chief.
So, nice catch. We're just handing out timeline.
Thank you.
So as Karen stated, on February 22nd, the fire department was asked to attend a site visit of the property requested by the planning board. At the time, Deputy Chief Laporto, who is now Assistant Chief, attended the site visit. On February 24th, Deputy Chief Laporto sent a letter to Mr. Grumbling stating that a certified fire protection engineer would be needed to be hired to determine what needs to be completed to bring the property in compliance with the state fire code. This is quite common practice for the fire department. We get into situations where it's a rather large building or it has different occupancies within the same building. We've asked them to hire a fire protection engineer. They get to choose who they want. They do have to pay for it on their end, but they can choose whoever they want to use. We've actually found that sometimes it works for them and on their side because they can work with that fire protection engineer to say, hey, this is too costly, is there anything else we can do, and they can work on a plan. It's not my job to go in there and tell them exactly how to fix an issue because I'm not paying for it. On May 22nd, 2020, Nortec Systems completed a 9-page visual observation report for Mr. Grumbling. And in summary, the report showed 16 recommendations to bring the building into state fire code compliance. The report was dated on June 18th, 2020. September 2020, Deputy Chief Laporto reached out to Mr. Grumbling for an update on the improvements. Mr. Grumbling stated he would not be implementing any recommendations. April 1st, 2021, myself, Deputy Chief Laporto, Karen Rossi, and Bill Booth, the building inspector, sat down with Mr. Grumbling in Karen's office to determine an acceptable timeline to implement the recommendations. Something that I've always done with all these businesses, and for knowledge of everybody, we've done this with Lee USA Speedway a couple of years ago. It took them 5 years to meet state fire codes. We've done it with Kirkwood Corners and a lot of other large facilities in town. I understand the financial complications that this has because of everything they have to purchase, so I've always been willing to work with the businesses and sit down and say, okay, as the fire chief and I'm looking at this report, this is the top items that I think need priority, and then these we can wait a little bit longer, so we're looking for a timeline. In an email to all above parties, it was stated that Mr. Grumbling would concentrate on the following improvements, and we'll meet again in early July to check the status of the items. It was exit signs, fire extinguishers, fire alarm system, and the boiler room. On October 12th, 2021, Mr. Grumbling had the fire alarm system and extinguisher inspection completed. Deputy Chief Laporto requested another meeting to work on the next phase of the report. In an email, as of October 20th, 2021, there was no reply from Mr. Grumbling to set up another meeting. So at that point, almost a year later, he had the fire alarm system completed and the extinguishers were inspected. June 17th, 2022, and also COVID was in the middle of all this as well, so we kind of backed off and worked on some of this stuff. June 17th, 2022, both legal counsels spoke regarding the completing the timeline to move forward with the recommendations. And in 2022, Mr. Grumbling stated he refused to undertake any additional upgrades after completing the fire alarm system and the extinguishers. September 22 of 22, the town filed a settlement agreement. And in November, we got it back from the court, and the settlement agreement had deadlines in them. The first one being March 31st of this year. As you see, then there was one in August 31st, January 31st of next year, and June 30th of 2024. So I feel like we're giving them enough time to get some of this stuff completed. Two things from that document. It said the town of Lee contends that Mr. Grumbling, Ms. Hanson, and Boulder Brook, the defendants, are currently operating the property in violation of the state fire code. Although the defendants dispute that claim, they're willing to make the following improvements to the property. I do have the document of the list of improvements. The town shall be notified as each item is completed no later than the above dates, which is at March 31st. And shall inspect the property as it deems appropriate to ensure that the improvements are completed in a timely and compliant manner. February 27th, I had a discussion with Karen to see if she's heard anything from Boulder Brook, because I wasn't hearing anything at that time. The Town of Lee Council wrote to the Defendants Council expressing the town's concern that as of that date, no applications for the required building and electrical permits to perform the work have been obtained. March 31st came, and the town received no notice that the agreed upon improvements required to be completed by this date were in fact completed. So on March 5th, a motion for contempt was, what's that?
May 5th.
Sorry, May 5th of this year. Motion for contempt. And then July 21st, the contempt order received, not allowing the public in the building with current fire code violations.
Good evening, everybody. Bill Booth, building inspector. So just to follow up, and give you a little history. On December 17, 2004, a building permit was issued for the horse barn. It's 2 barns connected by a waiting area, viewing area, with a indoor riding ring. Total square footage is 35,000 square feet. At that time, plumbing and electrical contractors were listed as to be determined. So on our applications, they have a space to list the contractors. TBD was in those slots, and that's normal. Once they get to that point, then we're notified of the contractors that are being hired to complete the job. Since 2004, we have never received those contractors' names. Town of Lee is not pursuing past work. We have talked about this, and although that's in the past, we're certainly not gonna make them rip down sheetrock that we just had them install just to view this. What we're concerned with is recently installed work and future work. So the work needed just needs to be in compliance with the state fire code. So what I need from my office is a building permit and an electrical permit. The building permit would cover mechanical room completion and stairs to the 2nd floor. Scott mentioned deadlines. We've just passed one, March 31st, and we have another one coming up August 31st. And the August 31st deadline is a second form of egress off that 2nd floor. So the building permits are issued for a year, and that would cover all this future work that needs to be done. One of the last dates on our schedule is next June 2024, and that's external doors for egress, emergency egress. And that would be covered under that building permit if it's completed within the year. And then an electrical permit, exit signs, emergency lighting, and strobes and horns, things that are 110 volts. The fire chief has already had an inspection of the fire alarm system. That's a low voltage system. They permit that exclusively through the fire department. It's not through my office. So all I need to move forward is a building permit and an electrical permit. And any questions? I'll stand here if anybody has any questions.
So what exactly do they have left to do?
They,
What are the items? I assume you've got some of it, fire department has some.
Yep, so the fire department identified a list of items, and then it was suggested that he hire his own fire protection engineer. That fire protection engineer, as the fire chief said, produced a 9-page report. So there's a lot of items on that, and the town of Lee is not holding all of those items his feet to the fire, you know?
Not yet.
Right, it's been, and
That's a quick.
as the chief said, because of the pandemic, it's been an incredibly lenient amount of time to complete these simple tasks. Going forward, he has the staircase, not a simple task, I don't mean to label that, you know, but it's the state fire code, so we're not asking him for anything special.
I think it's important to note that the violations here are state fire code violations. The order to cease and desist was not from town officials, it was from Stratford Superior Court. And I think it's important too to note that neither council or the business owners showed up at the July contempt hearing. I think a lot of this could have been averted if we had attendance. And I would note too, we did receive notice of an appeal of the contempt that came in today, didn't it, Karen?
Yeah, it's like 3:30 today, which we expected.
Yeah.
Of course, that would absolutely come in.
Apparently, the attorney had cited computer issues in his contempt and said that he had lost the data in his online calendar, and that's why there wasn't attendance.
So we did serve them with the date of the contempt.
People were physically served, yes, and they were physically served individually.
And in the public document, which is a 52-page document from all three, it shows what time and date each individual was served. And it's also very important to know for the record, even though they were saying that there was fines that were levied, the court did not levy any fines. Every time the town takes somebody or business or anybody to court, we always go for fines, and then the judge decides what you get for fines. So that 30,000 was like 28 and some change. was what we asked for, like we asked for every time we go to court, and the judge did not award us fines. The only thing they awarded us for was for attorney fees to bring the motions before the court.
So
That was essentially that one appearance too.
there are absolutely no fines.
Absolutely no fines.
So the GoFundMe is an appropriate.
Correct. Yeah.
Path forward.
Yeah.
There's also no one on the select board that I know of that has property or is planning to buy property in that area, so just another fact we'll point out there.
Yes.
I would point out that the town officials, as a general rule, are not evil and don't hate farms.
Town advantage. Thank you. I appreciate all your effort to bring this to light. It's hard to watch people you know are doing everything they can get attacked on social media. We normally don't respond because it doesn't make sense, but this got to the point where it was not fair.
Thank you. And fraud really bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that if anything, we will work with people, we will listen and be flexible and do the best we can.
I know the chief touched the base that we sent an email, and there were several email correspondence, also public, part of the public document, telling Mr. Grumbling in February that he needed to pull those permits, and he insisted he did not need permits.
Yeah.
And in other towns, they don't require permits. And our attorney, and we sent a copy of the law, they don't, in other towns don't require agricultural uses to get permits, and we said we do. So we have been more than patient with them.
Yeah, and the contempt order, the judge specifically put in the language of the contempt order that that was a debunked theory. The permits were needed.
And have we heard, so other than the appeal, have we heard otherwise from our attorney since this contempt order is received, asking us for inspection?
Last Thursday, the attorney reached out and said, my client would like inspections, and we said, absolutely, as soon as they pull the necessary permits, we will do inspections. That was the first, we've been asked to do inspections. There's been no, I've heard today that they've been trying to get a hold of us and we're not calling them back. That is absolutely not true.
And just to be clear, the code enforcement officer has offered after the fact permits, so we're not putting them through any hoops. In fact, they're being given quite a bit
And
of
normally we
real
charge
care.
$300 plus the permit from after the fact, and we're not even doing that. We just want them to come into compliance. That's all we want.
Really appreciate you coming forward and sharing the story because I think it's just really important. Thank you.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
One of the things that irritated me about this particular story is social media allows you to say whatever you want to say. And there's always two sides of the story, and social media is going with just one side. So people need to be understanding that just because you see it in social media doesn't mean it's totally true. You know, they're having a point of view, the town has a point of view. And I think people have to remember there's two sides to a story. Until you get both sides of the story, you don't know the real story. So that's all I want to say about that.
Thank you.
I also want to point out that our town employees, many of them live in town. They volunteer on committees, they help run the fair, they help run the rec commission, they show up at the town events and do everything they can for this town. They're not nameless, faceless people trying to hurt anybody in this town. And that accusation seems particularly hurtful and unfounded. They are your neighbors. This was unkind.
And they're trying to keep us all safe. That's literally what this is about, making sure everyone is safe in their environments and when they go places. And that's it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for doing your jobs.
All right. So we're going to go to appointments. Emily. No, I didn't hear any other.
No.
Emily, well, did you want to come talk about the library?
Hi, Emily from the Woodall, Emily, I was Emily from the Woodall. No, Emily from the library. And I'm gonna give just a brief update on the renovations, and then Haley's gonna talk about space and our space request. So I have 3 updates. The first is that we've been in contact with New Hampshire Saves, and we have a contact person there who has then been in contact with subcontractors for the HVAC, insulation, and the lighting. And they are working together to assess if there are any opportunities for money reimbursements and things like that. So that's all going forward and they're working on that. The second thing as an update is that we are awaiting the start date for the exterior electrical work, and that will probably start any day here. We don't have an exact date, but now that it's almost August, tomorrow, it could be any day. And then the third update that I have is that I was wrong about the computers last month. When I came, I said we were gonna have the computers out in the main section, and I just wanted to correct that. We're gonna have laptops available for people to use instead of the desktop computers, because that saves a lot more space.
Great.
And so I just wanted to correct
I
that.
appreciate you always being on top of
Update. And then that's really all we have for right now, and next month I'm sure we'll have some more updates about more specifics, but Haley is gonna talk a little bit more about space.
Thank you.
And I do have a little update.
Okay.
Haley Van Gales, Library Director. Another update, I spoke to Milestone, the construction company, asking what their official kind of date they wanted us out of the old schoolhouse room, and they've asked for mid-September.
Okay.
So, which is great, which means we have 6 or so weeks to clear that schoolhouse room, main room, plus the basement. With all the organising that we've done this year, we think we can get most of the collection, or the usable collection, within the other library rooms, so within our main circ room and the other adult room. Other stuff we would like to box up, and to keep it safe, I would like to ask permission to use one of the town sheds next to the hobo shed.
The vault, essentially, this,
Oh,
there are 2 storage containers. One of them has town clerk material in it, the other is empty except for those 2
Units
bookshelves.
that I
we're
might
putting
take
in.
out
Yeah.
to use. And things that don't go out very often, like our New Hampshire collection doesn't go out very often, audiobooks don't go out. So I'm keeping newer items in circulation, but things, for example, the computers, I would like to put them away for 6 months. And we do have 3 laptops for the public to use and to check out on site. So that was all I wanted to ask for space. Also, having that date now in mind, we would like to be able to plan into next year throughout the renovation, so I did want to ask if I could continue to use the town hall space exactly as we're using it now until the end of phase 1 of the renovation.
Yeah.
Until,
So you can.
so we can just
Count on it.
continue as we're doing now. Yeah, just so that I don't have to come back in December and we're panicking up until then, and then I'm like, okay, I've got to back in December, and
Yeah.
it will just help me plan a little bit better for programming, for Judy, for things right until the end of that time when we can get her back into the old schoolhouse room when it's done.
Great.
Is,
Okay.
is there any expectation for when phase 1 will be done?
They said 6 months, right?
Oh,
From
oh, that's
hopefully 6 months from
Minimum
start
of
to
6
finish.
months,
Yeah, so we're hoping the point of the mid-September clear out date is they want to get the mitigation team in there earlier. So although they're kind of like, well, the rest of the teams probably won't get there till October, if we can clear out that room by mid-September, they can start different teams coming in earlier. So to me, the earlier they can start, the better. So we're going to work hard to clear those spaces. I'm struggling with, we have a lot of shelving in that room.
Yeah.
So that's my main issue, is where to store. We have shelving in the basement. We have room in the other basement to kind of move things around until we can move it back. So collection-wise, we should be okay, but my issue is where to store the shelves. I don't know if anybody has any ideas about that.
We've recently learned that it's possible to use some kind of a sealant.
Yeah, Dave Devonish and Steve Bullock had found essentially a floor sealant. It would be about $300 for enough of the material. You paint it on, it's a paint-on application that is considered safe and adequate remediation for the type of material that's in the floor there, asbestos and asbestos-related things.
That's the area that they just moved everything out of. And
Oh, wait, so we're talking about the town park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the concern, Steve and Dave had overheard that the concern was safety, and Dave said, I have used this material in public buildings before. He said, I can actually get it at Lowe's. He said, it would be about $300 for enough to remediate that floor. He said, which would then be safe for
And
people to be in.
that floor is an extension, so it's not the weak floor that's in the regular town hall, so would that be able to hold some books?
I wouldn't need it for books.
For storage of those?
Just storage of shelves themselves.
Okay.
Books were going to be,
it's a
if,
slab.
So, but what I'm saying is, if you wanted to have some shelves that had things on it, so that you could, if you did need them, you could have access to them. They'd
Oh,
be
okay.
temperature regulated, safe, you'd have access. might make things a little bit easier.
It would be wonderful if we
And then
could
get
have
some storage
that
back for the kids.
permission.
Yeah, we just didn't know that that was an option until it all came up, so I think that.
But I would, if that's an option, that would be wonderful, but I would like to clarify that we would not use that space for any children's
Okay,
resources, or that wouldn't be a space for Judy's children's stuff, that it would literally be during the renovation for shelving and, like you said, maybe some
Love it.
adult things.
What do you guys think about that?
I have some questions.
Okay.
The things you're sticking in the storage shed, which is really the container thing.
Yeah,
container.
we call it the vault.
There's no climate control in there, so you're gonna get computers in there?
There
That's
is a dehumidifier in there.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the winter.
Yeah.
Computers have a certain operating range and where you can store them, and Sub-Zero is not one of those particular choices.
Okay, so then not the computers, I can put them actually in the other basement. Well, I have room in the other basement, we did clear all that basement out, and our plan is also to put some shelving down there and
Yeah.
have books accessible to the staff down there too. So computers can go down there also. Essentially, I'm like, I don't want to put, audio books can go in that shed, books can actually go in that shed as long as they're in airtight boxes, things like that, but absolutely, I
Okay.
can put the computers in the basement.
And in terms of time for your thing, so maybe June 30th, 2024, to use the facility, the old town hall?
That would be great, if we could say until phase 1 is complete, just in case, I'm worried I'm hoping it's not gonna run over, that's over 6 months.
The original
Yes.
question was until all of the renovation was
Phase
complete.
1.
And I just asked, can we just have like a chunk so we know and we can work within that and then renegotiate when that's.
So June
Next
is
phase
to the end of
happens.
the fiscal year, basically.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
The last question is the $300, who's paying for that?
That depends on what you want to do going forward. It is the town hall, so that will become town, so I'm okay with making it an expense from the town building already overexpended, but it depends on how you guys do it.
Okay.
We'll be able to
My
use it.
thought is, we're doing it for the library should pay for it.
Do we want to have it?
I would be happy to have them.
Would that be a nice proposal? And then we'll do the work to put it in.
Yeah, I'll have to talk with Dave and Steve and see what they've got for time. We've had some volunteer groups come forward that want to do volunteer work in town, and they specifically want to do volunteer work in September, so I don't believe this material is hazardous, you just paint it over, maybe we could use that.
Asbestos, so you have to have protection. Okay,
We have lots of masks left.
so we'll leave it up to who's gonna do that, but maybe we'll share the cost with the library and then have that space available. Does that seem-
So
All right.
the town will issue an invoice to the library.
Oh, yeah,
If
We
Dave's
can do
gonna
that,
buy
yep.
all the stuff.
That's
that'd be
perfect.
great.
perfect.
Yeah.
And if it's less than 300, then it'll be less.
Yeah.
Okay. So I move to approve the library utilizing space in the Old Town Hall throughout phase 1 of the library renovation project in order to continue to the, oh, you want to do it until the end of fiscal year? Okay, to the end of fiscal year 2024. The library renovation project in order to continue day-to-day service it currently provides in the community. That will be the first warrant.
Second?
Great, any discussion?
Do that again?
So the library utilizing the space in the Old Town Hall.
I think you said fiscal '24,
Fiscal year.
Sorry, fiscal year, yeah, so ending in July 1st.
so July, okay, yes.
To the
Right.
end of the
Right,
fiscal
we were
year.
originally gonna say phase 1, but you asked that it would be a date. So, yeah, the end of, so July 1st,
Mhm.
to have day-to-day services it currently provides the community. Okay, so that was seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. And then we're gonna move to approve the library using one town shed for storage during phase 1 of the library renovation project with an amendment that we will also be splitting the cost to cover the town clerk's office with a,
It's an amendment, that's different.
sorry, that's an addition, there you go, an addition to remediate, no, is that the right word?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, the
Remediate
asbestos.
the asbestos.
So that it can also be used for storage during that period of time.
I just, as an aside, I will ask Lowe's and see if I can find anyone else. I know some of those larger chain stores will frequently make donations to municipalities, so I'll see if I can get them to consider donating.
Wonderful, okay.
And can we define town shed? That's never been called a town shed.
Yeah.
So if you
Call it-
call it the storage.
Vault?
I would call it the Westerly Storage Vault.
Okay.
Westerly Storage Vault.
Westerly.
That gives it like a real feel. I like that. It's more exciting that way. So the Westerly Storage Vault.
I will happily put my items in the Westerly storage box, it sounds very fancy.
I just want to see like fairies. and
It's
maybe
flush,
some-
it's flush.
I like it.
All right, perfect, I like that. So,
Second.
great. Any discussion?
No.
And I assume there's no issues on your end with the western.
Westerly Storage Unit.
No, and as I mentioned, I already helped Haley put some
Okay, no, as long as they're happy.
bookshelves in there, a couple that are coming out, so.
All right, okay. So let's vote.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
I so moved.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous, thank you.
Now, we note that the librarian has astonishing lifting capacity and
I
capability.
see.
Those are heavy shells.
She probably grew up in the Westerly storage area.
I did,
Straight.
that's why I like it so
Work on
much.
the docks.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right.
All right.
On to the next topic, the league readers. We have Jennifer here and Liz as well. Hello.
Hello. So, I guess the first thing is the League Readers would like to run a silent auction at the League Fair this year. We have one donation in hand. It's a lovely black and white photo of rocking chairs on a porch overlooking water, donated by Bunny Coletti. Her husband took the photo. And we have, I guess we could call it a pledge of a second donation of stained glass from Tristan Cisneros, TBD.
Wonderful.
Yes, and we'd like to get more, but time will tell.
Accepting donations for anyone?
People in, you know. So we kicked around ideas of how to run the silent auction, and we came up with each item would have a piece of paper, and people who want to bid would simply write down their name and what they bid, and people could come by and say, oh, I want to write down my name with a higher bid, and people can come by and rebid, et cetera, et cetera. The greeters would keep contact information so that that would be kept private, but people would see who bid what and decide if they want to up. We haven't decided on a specific end time, but it would be, you know, end of fair, and probably an announcement of winners at the dinner.
Okay.
My question is, the RSA allows raffles and such. It doesn't speak to silent auctions.
I don't know that permission is actually necessary for a silent auction.
Yeah,
It would be for a lottery
standard.
or a raffle or a 50-50 type thing.
It's not gambling, it's just
Yeah.
offering a
Well,
price.
that's my only comment. I don't think you need our permission to do it.
But
Well,
that's how
we
good they
did,
are.
but, you know.
It's better to be safe.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that we're giving the permission then?
How can we give permission because the state doesn't give us authority to give permission? So how can you give something that you're not authorized to give?
You could let them know you approve of their
So we're gonna give
activity.
you our
We
blessing.
approve.
We're not breaking any town or
Yeah.
state laws, so that's good. Okay.
Check.
And the second item on there, I think Denise, you added this about reviewing the charge and discussing.
Oh, you wanted
membership.
to review the charge.
Did I have something?
Did you have something in there? Okay.
Let me see.
I think I had gotten an email from whoever sends the league greeters emails saying that we would meet in early August to talk.
To make sure that we knew and had a discussion about what exactly the charge was, and I'm trying to remember, this came up like weeks ago. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened that made us say we really need to have a
Well, I know
discussion.
we were meeting about the lists
Yeah.
and what we can and cannot post.
Right, the media policy and that
but-
kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of got tangled up with the tech committee is reviewing the media policy, so we wanted to postpone and kind of,
Perfect.
you know, get everybody together at a
Oh, how many
later time.
members you have?
Right, that's
Yeah,
what I
we can
thought,
talk.
if maybe you meant by that, so, yeah,
Is Katrina a member
yes.
or not?
But
have
do
to
I
make a
affect,
decision.
yes, I think that's the hard part, is that I can't always make the
And
meetings,
you
so I can't be
can't
part of
be
the
one
quorum.
week and not the next.
Right,
In order
so,
to make a quota and not make a quota.
right, so
Quorum.
quorum,
Quorum, I
right. So
mean.
what I was doing was acting as a liaison but then I'm not a voting member if I'm not.
Ever, yeah, you have to.
Correct.
20.
Correct.
Okay.
I think I didn't vote at the last 20 years.
You did.
Right, no, because we had, you had made the suggestion, the greeters discussed it at a meeting where we did have a quorum.
Great.
And so from that point on, because we adopted your suggestion, we've been considering you a non-voting, non-quorum liaison.
Perfect. Come and help whenever necessary, but then help, but
Because we didn't
don't
appoint
want to
you,
affect the
right?
quorum.
We didn't appoint you ever?
Yes.
Last year, and then when we discussed going forward, I said I had to not be on so many meetings because I'm in meetings almost every night.
So we appointed you, but did we
As the
unappoint you?
Mm.
So we need to unappoint her?
You
Sure.
appointed her in March, and then she got a
Job.
job and
Yeah.
just decided kind of that.
So can Katrin resign her appointment?
As
Or
an
can we
appointment?
unassign her
And then
to
just
make it
liaison.
official?
Yeah, you certainly could.
I resign my appointment and from now on a liaison to the league readers officially.
Sounds good.
That was bad. I should probably do that for sustainability as well while I'm here.
Well, it's up to you.
Do you want a list of committees you're on?
I
Just go through, pick the list.
Still on some of them, I just can't, it's very hard with, when your job is 3 or 4 meetings a night and then select board and to actually make all the meetings, so.
Can I ask Elise, how many people are in your committee now?
So we have three
Three.
in Katrin.
And Katrin's liaison.
So you're looking for more people?
Yes, we hope to
Okay.
take names at the fair. Anyone who's interested.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
And the league readers, what you do is help introduce people to the town and let them know about what's going on, say hello, welcome them.
Yeah.
Right, what we started doing was originally we were compiling information, what would we want as new residents of town? What was I missing when I moved here 12 years ago? So we were compiling that information, where do you go for scouts? Oh gosh, where do you sign people up for this? So we were trying to come up with, we separated all that and all the greeters were researching different topics and coming up with comprehensive lists. These weren't, we're recommending this over this, it was, this is everything in our area, you pick one. And that kind of information. So we started with that, and then we've asked for donations, we've gotten, so as people come into the town office that are new, and we decided this is the best place to get them, is because that's when most people come in, right when they're new. We have a letter from the town greeters that has a page that has information that points them to our website, and where they can find more information. It lists all the Facebook groups that relate to the town of Lee and the community and Worcester River and all of that. It lists that, directs them to go there. And then we give them a little gift. So these were donated, so we try to stay a few months ahead, and that's some of what the money is for. But like right now, we're at the very end of the first batch of like 43 gifts. And they were a reusable shopping bag with maple syrup made in Lee. It has a magnet with Lee phone numbers on it, and it has rolled up in it that letter welcoming people to the community, plus the directing them to that town information where they can get more. And so that's what we hope to continue, and then eventually maybe have some events, reach out to people at the fair and some things like that. But right now it's Jen, myself, Katrin, and Judy Belanger, and we're all insanely busy. So we
Hope would be great.
we did the walk at the market the other day, farmer's market. We'll do this. We'll try to ramp
And
it
if
up
you
a
don't
bit.
have time to be on a committee, you could always offer to help with putting together the baskets or the gifts.
Yeah.
Or you could offer to help with
Ad
events
hoc.
or things like that. Yeah, so that's an option too.
And, oh, go ahead. And
I
how
was-
about, go ahead. No,
I was gonna mention, I was looking for something else on the city of Somersworth's website, but they're one of the few communities around that has an active greeters group, and they have I'll send you a link, they have a very nice request information from the Somersworth Welcoming Committee or whatever, and you can put your name in and as much contact information as you want, and that's front and center on their town webpage, which might be a nice addition and way to draw people to you as well.
And then if they have a specific question and you have those listed, maybe you have that. There you go.
Right. We have an email. We set up an email. People can ask and send emails, which Jen is really quick responding to. And if she has forwarded to me, if she can't answer the question, So, people we can call them or whatever if we need to, so. But right now, I think they've been really, really well received. I mean, I gave one out just not too long ago today, and people are like completely delighted, come here from another town, just moved in, bought a house, and here, boom, here's a link to, you're being welcomed to the community, you're getting a gift, and you are given some information that I know as a parent, when I moved here, I struggled to find, like a lot of these organizations. How do you sign? I remember Boy Scouts, that was tricky. How do you find someone in the summer for Boy Scouts if they don't have like a website with the person, they're all volunteer with the correct number and all of that. And how I ended up surviving was contacting this person who's like, well, I'm not this year, but I know someone, and yeah, so that's what we're trying to alleviate. We're not gonna, right now, I think we're starting small, but I think we're doing what we set out to do, which was get that information out there for new people, and as they come in, they're getting it, so.
I would have loved it when I moved here. I think it's a wonderful thing, so I'm gonna appreciate the work you're doing.
How far back do you go? Because I was talking to somebody a couple Saturdays ago, and I mentioned your group.
Yeah.
And he says, where were they when I moved in 6 months ago?
No, that's hard.
So he's not necessarily looking for a gift, but he's looking for all that information.
Which is,
So,
right. So while it took us a while to get organized, to compile all the lists, to decide which direction we're going, to go reach donors, to get started for the first batch. So while we didn't get gifts, we couldn't go back for all those people. I did send an email to them with that letter of link information, and inviting them to, meet us at the farmers.
so he didn't get that, I guess. Can he still get the information from you guys, or?
He did he fill out, possibly he didn't give us his,
I do not know.
his information, because not everybody wanted to give their phone number or contact
Okay.
information at first,
But
we
now
were collecting
everybody
it that way. Now we don't ask, we just give it because we have it, this was prior, so.
Well, let's
I'm
talk-
happy to, if you give me his information, to reach out to him.
Okay, all right, I'll send you the stuff, yes.
The main list that Liz is referring to is on our page on the town site.
Okay,
So I can just point them there.
Yeah, and we have ideas that we've been kind of kicking around but haven't landed on yet.
okay.
Of, once we feel we're ready to go, maybe doing an e-crier article pointing everybody in town to
Yeah,
our page. So.
I've everything to write. Oh, great.
I mean, I've got a notice that says, don't know where to go, don't know who to ask, don't know this, don't know that. League readers.
Yeah, the Gmail, yeah,
Yeah.
you're the one who put it in.
Oh, there
Yeah,
you
I've been
go.
noticing that in e-crier.
Yeah, because they call me every day.
So one less thing you have to do. That's great.
That's good, because it came up because he was looking for something. I said, oh yeah, I talked about you guys, and, well, they never contacted me, I want that information. I said, okay.
I think we'll
Yeah,
have
Good.
it
it's on the
there.
website, we'll
Good.
be at the fair, like I said, happy to reach out if you have his
I'll send you this
information.
stuff. So,
Okay.
okay. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Is that right? Thank you.
That's great. We are now going on to regular business.
Sure. The first item on regular business, the budget update. I sent people a budget summary on Monday that is not an accurate reflection of how the year ended or what was spent. I am meeting with Kristen tomorrow morning, and we are redoing the year end, and I'll send you the regular budget to actual that shows you both the end of the year, and we have all our billing statements in and credited for the end of the year as of this morning, I believe. And we'll have that for you, as well as the new, I'll give you a budget to actual for the month ending this month under the new budget, which is finally accurate and moving forward. And this is the first time in a number of years we've had a firm starting point
Yeah,
for the new
that's
fiscal year.
huge. Amazing.
So the bond payment, the last one, will be on.
Yes,
Okay.
yep. And we sent that was $30,000 the last payment, and the town of Lee is now long-term debt-free for a little while anyway.
Yep.
So,
It's a pretty nice place.
And that last payment will hit this fiscal year.
yes, yep. The cleaning service bid award, I know Mr. Bullock and the police chief had been talking with contractors. Dave Devenish has been escorting them around. We did a solicitation of bids for cleaning. Steve really wants to move forward with a cleaning contract as opposed to a second cleaning person. By far, the most competitive bid was from Bilank or Bilank, B-I-L-A-N-K, and they are a local cleaning company based in Lee. We've done their background, talked to some references. They are doing very similar buildings and much larger buildings as well in the immediate area, and had stellar recommendations, and backgrounds all came back clear. The only holdup, I believe they have to take a compliance course. It's a short video course that you have to take online to be able to clean the police department.
It's reasonable. That's great news. So
Fairly
we're gonna
standard.
start cleaning up everything soon.
And basically, Steve and Tom were going to present this last week, and Steve and Tom are both on vacation this week, so I'm presenting it, but they would like a motion to enter into a contract with Beelank LLC at a cost of $2,987 a month. And I believe you all had the background that they had submitted.
So moved.
Okay.
It's all in here, right?
Yeah.
Second?
So,
Second.
Great, now discussion.
thank you. So his intention is to replace that second person with this service, is that?
It is, yes. And they are essentially going to be doing all the town buildings with the exception of the town office, which Dave Devenish will continue to do.
This means we don't have to come up with an extra car, correct? Extra truck?
I can't guarantee that Mr. Bullock and Mr. Devenish are not going to keep working the truck
Okay,
anymore.
okay. This is for Mr. Devenish, but not for this cleaning, okay.
And this firm, you said it passed, so they've done a criminal check and?
Yes, we did get the state police background checks back.
Okay, and the contract, is it, what is it, annual, yearly, monthly? What is it? What-
We do not have the final contract yet. Steve is going to angle for a monthly contract so that if it
Terminate.
doesn't work out in the manner that we think it's going to, that we could be done with it.
Okay, I'm okay with it. I would not be inclined to approve one that's annual.
Okay.
I'd rather, if it's an annual, it needs to have the ability for us to get out
Yeah.
with a
Needed to
30-day
save laws
notice
in
or
there.
something. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, thanks.
We need to add that to the motion.
You already seconded.
I know, but she's asking if
We
we
need
should
to
add that to
amend
motion.
the motion.
Amend the motion to say 30 days. As long as it's a 30-day contract, or as long as it's not
Yep.
an annual contract.
And that is Steve's intention, and I believe he has communicated that to them as well.
If you can make that amendment to the motion, and if the person that seconded it is agreeable to the amendment,
Agreeable.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye, so moved. Phone is low on battery, and it's shutting down.
The next item I had was, I had done a final review of the two RFPs for design build services and for the clerk of the works. Would like to proceed with those. The only thing these don't have on them are the electric link to the 3 appendixes. The 3 appendixes were the 2 site plans that you had reviewed. I believe one's from 2019, one's from 2020, and also the latest cleaned up sketch that you had done as a board of the rooms and their uses. That I think, they'd be important to
Yeah.
give folks an idea of the scope.
I read through it, it made sense, and it seemed all pretty reasonable.
So I'll have to admit, I was bad. I haven't got through all of these yet. Can we wait till next Monday when we meet?
You can?
Okay.
Is that gonna be enough time? I mean, we already pushed it up now a week. as it is.
Yes, and actually, after talking to council, I had moved it back to the original date of September 22nd, based on, she said you're making that a fairly tight window. but-
Yeah, so is there a way, Mr. Bullock, that we could have it that if you see something that is not acceptable, that we could call some kind of emergency meeting or something? It's, because we had it from last week too, we had it before, so just wondering how else to move it forward without us putting us back another week.
Oh wait, well, 2.1.3, you left the date still September 15th in there.
2.1.3.
Yeah, I thought that I had September 22nd for the design build and October 25th for the clerk of the works.
2.1.3. I see it.
Okay.
And 2.3.3.
There we go. Those would be your corrections. So is there a way that if it's only a technicality or correction that we can go forward with it? And then if there's an actual change to the meat of the project, can we like move it unless you find something that's a large change?
I think the only thing, is the only thing you changed from last time the dates?
I changed the
And
dates
the
and
one Barrington?
I took out the town of Barrington and I found a Merrimack that I had left in there as well.
Okay. There we go. Oh, Denise did that? Thank you, Denise, appreciate that.
Sorry.
No,
That's
she
okay.
brought it up at the meeting before.
Yeah, that's true, I did bring it up the last meeting that there was a typo in there. I left it firm to mine.
So is that a possible way to go forward?
I have no amenable to that, but
Yeah,
it takes two.
We only have, I mean, we've given as much time as we can. I apologize for no time, but we have given time to read it and go through it.
But I just got it last Friday, so don't.
Okay.
Well, it's the same as the
Same.
one from like
Just with
3
updates
weeks ago.
and the dates.
I didn't see
Yeah.
that until later, so. I haven't seen it, so if you two ladies want to go ahead with it,
Yes.
I will vote no.
Okay, I move that we go forward with the RFP as presented, with the dates checked and spelling.
And then can we just, sure, second. But the clerk of the works, for some reason, all your headers say type here in them.
Oh, yeah, on the top, I'll clear that.
I don't think I saw any other typos.
So the RFP for the building and the clerk of the works.
Yeah. Oh, was it on the building too? No, it's just the clerk of the works says type here in every single header.
I'm just saying for the motion.
Oh, sorry,
We're gonna
yes.
move to approve both of them at the same time. I also have things I'd love to switch in here, but I think that for the interest of going forward, I think we just have to get it done. So any discussion? No? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, so moved.
Okay. And I will send you one more final copy with the corrections you noted tonight.
Great.
Okay. I will read it for more typos. Is that okay to change typos if I find them?
Because I haven't looked at the clerk of the works one.
Denise went over the first one,
Yeah.
the building one, and handed me a list of
Fine tooth comb.
corrections.
Perfect. Yeah, just make sure it's all, yes. Perfect.
I will probably ask Bill, Code Enforcement Officer Bill Booth, to look at it again too and go through.
Great. And if we need to revisit it, we can.
Yeah, I don't think we will, but
Have an
we
emergency
should-
meeting.
we can have a meeting from there.
Okay, so consent, move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
No, I don't.
Second?
believe that.
Anyone second?
Oh, second.
Any discussion?
I have an observation, and I don't know if we can do something about this. but,
Okay.
All these abatements that we do, especially the ones that are in the trailer park in terms of campers and
I
stuff,
have the same concern.
because we're paying an awful lot of interest for money that we shouldn't have to pay, although legally we do, we have to pay it, but is there any way that we can cut down on the number of, abatements that we give because of these trailers come and go? Because we're paying, like, one of them is what, $1,400 or something like that, we're paying, what, 8%, 10% interest? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can certainly talk with the assessors and the town clerk, or tax collector, and see what we might be able to do to streamline this. I know we are cleaning up some of the campground campers that we've been stuck with, that the town clerk transition has brought to light that we had a number of things that hadn't been taken off the books that were
Okay.
from years back, so we're actually going back several years and cleaning up a lot of the campground
We can get better going
issues.
forward.
Yes, I think it'll definitely get better
It's-
going forward.
It's always so many.
Yeah, because part of the expense is paying the interest, but the other part of the expense is our staff time in terms of
Oh, yeah.
monitoring these things. It's ridiculous. Because some of them, they're like, the tax is $84, well, we probably spent $84 just in terms of dealing with it, it's just.
Writing it up. and
Getting the
bringing it
appropriate
back.
paperwork and
Correct.
filing with the RA.
So, okay, that was my only comment.
Nope, I can certainly
And
talk
it's
to the
not,
tax collector.
and it's not like something that's new this year, we've been doing this for
No.
years, it's
No.
ridiculous, so.
I think it happens everywhere. I think that
Yeah, it's-
people move, they leave,
Yep,
and then it doesn't get caught up until after April passes, and then we find out that
does the people that own the park or the campground,
we try to get them to supply us with
yeah,
updated active lists,
Yep.
current lists. You know, we have assessing go out as soon as they can, as soon as the snow melts, and try to get out there and figure out who's there on that date, so we can.
Is there no other way to write it so that it's not the fault of the town if somebody from the campground and the person that owns it doesn't alert us? Like, is there any way, I don't know why that's on us and not on them. Is there another way to write the rules or to?
it's an RSA.
Well,
change.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know, I'm just wondering if there's any, like, did we set something up or is that an RSA that's
No.
determined?
I believe that's all RSA determined.
Okay.
So maybe we can put on our list the next time one of our reps come to talk to us, that
There
we
you go.
give them a suggestion in terms of maybe they can make a tweak to that RSA. Because, you know, I don't mind refunding them the money, but we shouldn't have to pay that kind of interest.
It's not the town's fault that we didn't know, it's,
Well, it's just interest for not collecting.
yeah.
I don't know what you mean by pay.
For those
interest.
particular ones that have paid it, we have to pay them interest on that money. That's my understanding.
If we refund or reimburse for the
Yes.
taxes incorrectly paid, yes.
Yes.
Money and they
If
didn't
they
have a
haven't
chance to
paid
invest
it,
for
that's
themselves.
something different.
Yeah, it's
But-
usually people haven't paid it.
Okay, so we're not.
No.
Okay, so it's
No,
the
we're not.
people, so that's a smaller, even a smaller.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, typically we can't even find these people.
Yeah, we are just abating money that we never got and never paid. It's like a
Got it.
wash.
Okay, okay, thanks.
That helps. All right, so all in favor of accepting the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. All right. Wrong page. Sorry, okay. We are on to old business, do we have anything we can? Oh, yes. Sorry about this. I just ready to move right along.
Well, I mean, I was
I
gonna.
mean, I have my pen ready, I'm good to go.
So I have no updates on old business.
Oh, okay.
That'll move us along. Here's a pile for me. How about we can talk about, are some of these denied and some are accepted? Oh, there's a check, okay.
Yeah.
So look for the little check mark.
Mhm. I think there's only one or two.
I just better set things the right way.
I'm gonna try to read the whole pages of things.
No, we'll give you a little bit of the information, that makes it more
The
interesting.
signature pages apparently before the application.
I saw today that there's a page you can go to look for cyanobacteria updates. And so Swain's Lake is in orange, so people will know if you're gonna go swimming, maybe not Swain's Lake right now.
I can
Is
make
there
that more publicly available.
Was it from you that I saw it? I don't know. Where
No,
is
I
that from?
believe so. I had seen it as well, state.
Is there anything to sign on this?
No.
Okay.
These are all
Just back
signed.
up.
Thank you.
We don't have to talk about library store if we did that. So we can talk about, select board meetings.
Trin, did you say we're done with library storage? We don't need to talk about that
No,
anymore?
because that was
Okay.
She
the,
wrapped it up.
I wanted to make sure, yeah, I wrapped it into
Perfect.
one pile. Sorry, I didn't tell you that at the time.
No, that's okay, no.
I didn't realize. Have a great night.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Here's my information back out here. Oh. I'm gonna move back my signature.
Those bookshelves that we moved probably weighed upwards upwards of 200 pounds, if not a little more. I was really impressed with those.
You know, it's funny, because when I was a little kid, everyone always thought I couldn't do much, and I used to have to move 50-pound bags of horse food by myself from one end of the road to our barn.
One on your shoulder?
And I'd always be like, what is going on?
What do you say about these people joining committees?
Strength isn't seen always. I think this goes back to Mr. Rugby.
Yep.
Sorry. Thank you.
Hey. I
What?
already did that pile, didn't I?
No.
No, we did some.
No, you didn't.
It's a
Maybe
big
we
pile.
Uh,
Look at all these great people getting all set, and the Energy Commission is now gonna be
I
officially.
know, I'm really excited about this. All the people joining the committee is hearing group.
I know, I love new people, I love people staying and upgrading.
Upgrading.
For Energy Community Commission.
You've been upgraded.
I know. I just read a report about what that was, what that meant, so. That's fun.
For you?
Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
Mm.
Shoot.
I'm doing this one.
About 12 documents and my signature used to go.
This all happened when I had literally been
Signed that wrong.
breastfeeding baby and I was buying a house, she was 10 months old. And I was like, I cannot sit here like and do, like, so my signature literally changed for open eyes. I cannot, she's screaming, I gotta go, I'm paying a babysitter for this, and I've never gone back.
Since we have a recording secretary, we'll get the baby and have me hold her baby.
Oh.
10 minutes.
Done.
Selling a house while pregnant is super, super fun.
Oh, we all skipped that one, huh? Wow.
No, that's because Denise put the sticky thing in the wrong place, that's why.
Yeah, that's it. That makes me all skip
You
it.
do not get
You're
it
on your
right, do
toes.
you? Wow, that's impressive. She just wants us to all come in single-handedly and have to rally us just to decide one
So she
thing.
wants me to do this thing.
She loves when we do that.
All right, these ones are all done. Oh, except for this one.
Green email piece, are you coming in ever? Where are you? Okay, beautiful. All, these are all out of order.
Okay, select board
Is that it?
minutes, does that mean a calendar?
All right, so I have on my calendar right now a select board meeting every Monday of the month of August. Is there any change needed to that?
Every Monday in the month of August.
So select board meeting on 7th and 21st, and a select board building meeting on the 14th and 28th.
Oh.
Why do we need building meetings?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, we don't,
We don't.
which is fabulous.
So just the 7th and the 21st.
Yes, now do we need anything else? Do we need a planning meeting or a updated meeting?
I don't think we need anything until the RFPs come back.
Okay,
Teresa is the 22nd.
okay.
So that means the 25th then? Is that when we're just reviewing them?
Hopefully we'll get a number of firms to come back to us by that deadline, yeah, I know.
And then
Wait,
the
so maybe
28th.
this
But
one,
the-
should we plan a
So we have
meeting
one
on the
Monday off, which
25th?
is the 14th. Is that correct?
The 14th and the 28th.
But you said the 25th they're coming back, what date?
They're coming back
That's in September, though.
Oh, September, okay, so the
Yep.
28th is off, great, look at this.
Yeah.
My
So-
summer just got exciting.
Regular board schedule, the 7th, 21st, the 5th,
The 5th,
yes, because you can't meet on Labor Day.
correct,
And then the 18th,
so not the 11th.
not the 11th, and then we'll meet on the 25th to talk about the RFPs that come in on the previous Friday.
22nd.
If something does come up and we need to meet as a select board, I am available on those Mondays as of right now, so let me know.
Okay.
I'm gonna find a way not to be able to. Budget meetings will start.
So enjoy the free time while you have that, because
Don't-
that will all go
don't-
away.
Don't do that, don't do
This will
that.
be gone almost.
I
like,
know. Oh my God.
You can discuss what night they want to meet, but I'm kind of putting that out of my thought process.
Yes.
Can we just look at this for how
What are
What
we
would you like to
looking
look
at?
at?
The schedule for the RFP, there's dates in which we will do such and such by such and such.
Yep.
So like it says, finalist interviews, finalization by, oh. I have another typo. By October 11th.
Do we need to
Final,
have a meeting, you're saying?
like, so this says finalist interviews, final decision by select board, October 11th. So I assume we're supposed to be interviewing people on October 11th, but I feel like somewhere else it says October 10th. Because I said to myself, that sucks.
Just said, we'll give it one last,
So is it the 10th or the 11th?
It will be a Monday that is not a meeting.
So
Well,
be the 10th.
Well, the 10th is a Tuesday, because Monday is.
Are we off, we're not off on
Columbus Day.
Indigenous
No.
Peoples' Day?
No.
Okay,
We're not off on Indigenous Peoples' Day?
right, but we should cancel the select board building select board meeting that day.
No, we don't get that.
We could, yeah. that
It'll
was
be
discussion.
the Monday that's not the meeting.
Well, but, okay, so then the date definitely has to change in here, because it's,
Yeah.
one place it's October 10th.
Okay, we'll pick
One
which
place
one it
it's
is.
October 11th.
Okay.
So are you saying that's when we have to have a decision by, and you're saying we should have a meeting on Indigenous Peoples' Day?
So that's when you're gonna talk about, he chose the date.
The calendar says finalist interviews on October 11th.
Okay, so can I move the building select board meeting on the 9th to the 11th? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying we're gonna talk the next select board meeting? I just don't understand. I see, October 11th, I
Yes,
get it.
but somewhere else it says 10th, so I don't care which one it is.
That's fine.
yeah, I'll change the
I
date
just
to
wanted to,
the
which day do
I
you
just
want
wanna
to
make
do?
sure I'm free.
Monday.
You want to do it on the 9th?
No, this.
Because the 10th is a Tuesday, the 11th is a Wednesday.
Yeah, and
Oh, that's right, you
I had picked Wednesday
You did pick
specifically.
Wednesday.
And
you did. I'm
The
sorry.
idea was
The
Wednesday.
other one was a Monday.
Right,
So move it to the 11th, is what you're saying?
which is a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Okay, so I'm now moving the building select board on October 9th over to.
Well, I don't know, did you wanna do the interviews the same night as the building meeting?
Not really.
So is that the interview, you're saying an interview night would be the 11th?
The interviews I thought should be separate from a
Fabulous.
regular
I
select
just
board
want to put
meeting.
the right name on the right date. So, interview on the 11th of October.
Okay. So we're having a meeting on the 11th.
Yes,
Okay.
Which means you're deciding
not on the 9th.
on the same night?
No, because
You could delay the decision if you wanted that.
we have a meeting on the 16th, so a few days later. Okay,
Yeah, it was my intention to have you interview them separate from a Monday night meeting.
so the, okay.
So can we change then the anticipated timeline so the final decision is actually October 16th?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay.
Perfect.
And that takes care of yours.
That way you have an extra, and we can decide earlier if we want to.
Sure.
Okay. So that gets us all on the same page.
And you'll find the 10th and visit to the 11th. I don't remember where it was, but I saw it.
Okay. Anything else to discuss before going to non-public? Anyone else? Okay. So I move that we enter into non-public session, New Hampshire RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2, A. Second?
Second.
Second, okay, any discussion? Mr. Rugby?
Yes.
Ms. Hoffman?
Yes.
Casper, yes. So moved.
Something around and fall here.
Finally learning when I need a roll call. Excited now. I'm just gonna acknowledge my own successes when I have them.
Yeah, I told
Hello, everybody. Screw it, check one with me, Denise, I appreciate it. Have a great night, John.
Just waiting to.
Did you get my picture I sent you? part of this community now. Just because I've been brought up there so much to this house. Everyone's sad, they're like, don't you want to stay and live here? I'm like, I don't want to say no, I'm being mean, but I don't know. Like Bosquen, no, it's right on the other side of Bosquen. Like, well, it's Bosquen, Salisbury, and then, you know.
State University, it's up that way.
Yeah, but Plymouth's further, like Tilton is closer. Franklin's the next thing over. And everyone's like, you're so nice, we want you to leave, we want you to stay here. And it's sad to like make friends and then be like, okay, gotta go, bye. So, what? Why would you want to move to Vermont? Do you, wait, you don't care about politics? It's so backwards over there. My family lives over there. They live all around stuff, it's just so fucked up. What? I'm just surprised that you picked that place. How'd you go there? You can hear me? You can hear me?
No, but anyone else could. That's not off.